Thank you for welcoming me onto your headphones. I'm Eddie, reviewing Batman Soul of the Dragon, and this is the rollback. Folks, you are not imagining things. Do not adjust your television, your volume sets. That is a new intro. New year, new intro. We hope you all like it. I know Fernie sure does. Now, what movie am I talking about today? Well, it's a DC AU film that just premiered, that just came out, that, shockingly, I really did like. It is available on VOD, VUD, VOD. Voodoo, that thing. It is available early. Batman Soul of the Dragon is one of those things I really like. It's a bit of an experimental film. It's a new take on an old genre with a character that's seemingly timeless. This is what if Batman was a kung fu movie back in the 70s? But I feel like to call it a Batman film is a bit disingenuous. But issue being that if they called it Ricky Dragon, Soul of the Dragon, it wouldn't have sold as many copies. Batman is by no means the main character. He is actually part of an ensemble cast, but an actual ensemble cast that's really good. It takes place in his younger. It shows some flashbacks to Batman in his younger years, a young Bruce Wayne learning to fight and training under a sensei. He travels to the Nara Parbat. It's a secret monastery in Japan, pretty much, with the caretaker O Sensei and a few other students. You're gonna recognize some of these students. Lady Shiva, which Batman has stated in the comics, in canon, she is the best fighter on the planet. Period. Richard Dragon, which is a take on Bruce Lee that I really enjoy. He's not crazy. It's not like a crazy like dead on Bruce Lee, but it's a portrayal that I can really enjoy. That I can get behind. There's also Ben Turner, which, if you know, that's Bronze Tiger, ladies and gentlemen. They're not fucking around with this. They brought out the heavy guns. Also, two other students, Jade and Rip Jagger, which don't get attached to them. They're not going to be around very long. So the film actually does open with Richard Dragon performing some CIA stuff. He uses this weird little camera thing to get some fingerprints, and he's able to print them out. It's very much schlocky 1970s kung fu movies with a lot of tropes that come with it. That's not a bad thing, though. I really did enjoy his opening scene, and at first I thought, is this Bruce? Because it's a bit odd that they don't recognize him. Or I thought maybe Bruce was one of the kingpins in the casino, but no, as it turns out, it's Richard Dragon. He ends up getting his thumbprints, and he's able to get the plans that they're trying to get to a gate. The bad guys. Who are the bad guys? We're going to find that out later on. Now again, Richard does realize that this is a bit bigger than him, so he ends up recruiting Bruce to help him out. At Bruce's club, it's very apparent he is the Batman, but he keeps referring to his outfit as, he goes into just this different mindset when he's wearing it. Bruce is not necessarily openly mocked, but it's very clear he is not the best student with O Sensei. He's not the best at the monastery by any means. He trains, but he's not the number one student, and that's refreshing. Too often we see that Batman is simply plot armor. Batman, I am the best, period. It's refreshing to see Bruce Wayne, or Batman for all intents and purposes, get his ass kicked. He gets his ass beat quite a bit by Ben Turner, who makes a point of telling him at one point, just because you lost your mother and father does not make us feel sorry for you. That happens in my neighborhood every day. Referring to Ben Turner again, Bronze Tiger, an African American character in the 1970s. I want to say he referred to Harlem, but I could be wrong in that. So the film continues from there. And we get a lot of character growth. We get Ben Turner, again, Bronze Tiger, who has anger issues. We get Richard Dragon, who's very confident in his abilities, who's very much sought out by other players in the world. And then again, Lady Shiva, who is the undisputed best fighter of the group, who ends up actually overseeing a fighting ring. To a point where Richard Dragon actually asks Bruce, so you haven't gone after her yet? And Batman just looks at him and says, I'm working up to it. Like, even Bruce Wayne wants nothing to do with her. And that is so fucking perfect on point. So we get a flashback of Sensei talking about the sword. Which sword? The sword. So this sword is called a Soul Breaker. It's a sword that's meant to be able to open the gate, which would unlock some kind of demon. Again, we'll get to that in a moment. One night, both Jade, who's one of the other students, and Rip Jagger ends up killing Jade to open the gate to allow creatures to come into the world. Demons, really, to get into the world. And I believe it's 2 or 3 demons end up coming out, and we get this crazy, weird lizard man kung fu fight between these lizards and the students. Richard Dragon, Lady Shiva, Ben Turner, and Bruce Wayne. And they end up all working together as a team to defeat these demons. But nonetheless, after Rip Jagger is killed, O-Sensei ends up walking into the gate himself. And he tells them, it takes a soul to open this gate, and it takes a soul to close it. Good luck, my students. And they try to save him, but nonetheless, they're unable to. So once it's discovered that this evil cult is trying to open the gate, Richard somewhat sees it as an opportunity to get back their sensei, to save their master, the guy who trained them that, for all intents and purposes, was a father figure to them. Bruce is clearly on board with it. And they end up going to an island where there's this odd cult, which, again, I really enjoy the fact that they included these bad guys, Cobra. And bear in mind, Cobra is a cult within the DC universe, but they're shown in such a different way. They're just flexible enough to where there's not really any single really identified incarnation of them. It's not like, oh yeah, that's the version of Cobra that's definitive. There isn't, which is somewhat of a good thing. They're flexible. Sometimes their portrayal sucks. Sometimes their portrayal is great. And this one, I think it fits the schlockiness of a 1970s kung fu movie. The head of Cobra believes that it's his destiny to use the sword to open the gate. Now, there is a bit of a weird continuity error where Richard Dragon was hired to kill the head of the cult, or the main guy of the cult. But he ends up finding Cobra, the guy, when he's a child. And he ends up not killing him because I can't kill a kid, which, fair enough. But it's weird because then the kid grows up quick to being an adult, but Richard hasn't really aged. It was a weird break in continuity, but nonetheless, our team is slowly assembled over time. They end up recruiting Ben Turner after the sword is stolen. Lady Shiva's unable to retain the sword even after they give chase to a helicopter, which again, schlockiness. Enjoy. From there, we kind of get to this. We get to the island, and there's this climactic battle with this odd doctor that has snakes for arms, and then this weird lizard thing. Again, he looks like a doctor from a really bad 1970s film, but I will take it. This film is not taking itself too seriously, and I love it. Bruce Wayne ends up putting on the cape and cowl, and they take it to the snake guy. From there, they recognize, Lady Shiva and Richard Dragon go up to try and stop the cult from being able to open the door and bring out the demons. But nonetheless, even with their best efforts, the demons come forward. But the demon takes control of O-Sensei. Oh my god! Again, that 1970s. Anyway, so O-Sensei has become has been possessed by Naga, the demon god, this lizard demon thing. And he overwhelms everyone. He's able to beat the living shit out of everyone. Bruce Wayne, Shiva gets overturned. Ben Turner, I think, gets his arm broken. And they have these really cool moments where he does a 3-inch punch that destroys the clothes on the back end. That just show just how impactful his punches are. He overwhelms them, but at some point, Batman refuses to give up. Which is actually how he earned Ben Turner's respect. And one of my favorite scenes. Jumping right back for a brief moment. At one point when Ben Turner and Bruce have that confrontation about, it's about rice, but really it's about you need to know your place. Turner kicks the shit out of Bruce. Not once, not twice, but thrice. And each time Bruce Wayne just refuses to stay down. He keeps saying, I can keep going. And that's kind of how he earns Ben Turner's respect, which, fair enough. But also, I really like the character. Bronze Tiger was never really my thing. But I love this incarnation of him, the way he is. I understand he has anger issues. He has problems with the way the world is. And he uses his fist to force the world to make sense. And I can understand that. I can not necessarily relate to it, but I enjoy this interpretation of his character. Jumping back forward. We actually get this really kind of cool, weird, odd sequence where Batman actually uses his cape to snap the neck of O-Sensei. to try and stop him, but nonetheless, he keeps getting up and he keeps going. Um, Finally, Richard, with the help of Batman, is able to use Soulbreaker to actually stab Sensei. It sends the demon right back into the gate, killing the Sensei though. And O Sensei even tells him, he doesn't really say anything. He just like looks at his students like, I'm proud of you, and he passes away. And that's when the students realize that students, again being Bronze Tiger, Lady Shiva, and Richard Dragon, realize, you know, the only way to close the gate is to send his soul through the other side. Shiva says, the protecting the sword was my responsibility. This was my fault. I should do it. Turner obviously is going to volunteer, and Richard Dragon even says, he came for me, which is a fact, actually. Naga said that Richard Dragon was actually his ideal host, but they were able to stop him before he could do it. Anyway, Dragon says it should be him, but that's when they realize Batman, Bruce Wayne, already took the sword and walked through the gates. All three run through, and we get the four of them on one side of the gate, and the door closes. They're there to kind of confront Naga and all of his demons. They're there to finally, end the battle once and for all. They all decide to go through with it, and they end up as this really cool team at the end of the movie. Again, schlocky 1970ness, all these tropes that really work. I didn't think I was going to like this film, but they didn't take it too seriously, which ended up working pretty goddamn well, if I'm being honest with you. The animation in certain parts is very lackluster, I'll be honest with you. It's, again, very choppy. But that's what you expect from DC animation. When they're working with a very tight budget and a very tight amount of time to work with. So, the animation is going to be kind of in certain parts, but the fight scenes in this movie, in this animated movie, are incredible. And so are the action sequences. When it comes to like slow motion, the manner in which everyone moves, it's just an overall solid action film. Now, again, don't watch this movie if you want something serious. I would recommend it to DC fans, maybe even normal fans of normal movies, if you have the time. Just be aware, though, that you're walking into a lot of old school tropes that aren't necessarily for everyone. I'm not the biggest fan of Kung Fu movies, but I can enjoy this. Overall, honestly, I'd give this film a solid C+. Would I watch it again? Probably at some point. I'm just not going to run back to it. And again, it's very, I don't want to say dishonest, but it's a bit misleading to call this a Batman movie. It's more like a Richard Dragon movie featuring Batman, but that's not going to sell copies, let's be honest about it. But I do commend DC for this kind of film. Again, it's kind of like you always expect Batman to be front and center and plot armor and he's the best. But no, this film interpreted him as just another guy who's good, but he's not the best. He's self-aware, but not to a point of almost being a Mary Sue, which I can appreciate that very much so. Anyway, so that was my review of Batman Soul of the Dragon. What did you think? Did you like the film? Have you seen the film yet? I strongly recommend you order it on VOD if you have the chance, or maybe get HBO Max. They should have it playing there as well. So, thank you for joining us. If you want to hear more about our thoughts on movies, go to therollback.net. If you're listening to us via podcast, please like and subscribe. On YouTube as well, please like and subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've been given over this past, coming up on a year now, folks. So, all that being said, I've been Eddie, and this was The Rollback.